Hello everyone, my name is Ruoxu. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to share with you a fascinating research on the topic of perceptual completion, specifically how feedback to the early visual cortex contributes to this phenomenon. Our brains are constantly filling the gaps in our perception to create continuous experience, and today we will explore how this process works. Here are the contents. The purpose of the article is to investigate whether perceptual completion, the ability of visual system to fill in missing information and complete contours of occluded objects, occurs during early stage of visual processing or if higher level mechanisms are also necessary. The content of this article includes a description of the experimental methods used, such as TMS, to disrupt signaling in different areas of the visual cortex at different time points. And the results show that both early visual areas V1 and V2 and higher level visual areas, lateral occipital areas, are involved in perceptual completion, with V1 and V2 following LO in terms of critical time windows. And the article also discusses the implications of these findings for understanding the role of feedback in perceptual completion. And why researchers do this study? There are some informations. How different levels of visual processing contribute to perceptual completion has been a matter of debate for many years. Some have argued that perceptual completion occurs at low levels of visual cortex, the early stages of visual processing. However, Harris and her colleagues demonstrated that without awareness of the special context created by the inducer of kinesiotype figures, perception of illusory figures was lost altogether, which indicates that the need for extensive integration of contextual information during perceptual completion. The results of the imagined study further support the involvement of higher mechanisms. A kinesiotype figure is a type of illusory contour, which is a visual illusion that evokes the perception of an image. In the experiment, the researchers used these images to explore the relationship between the visual processing and perceptual completion. The specific steps of the experiment in this study involved presenting stimuli consisting of two sets of 4 dark gray inducers against a light gray background. And you can see them on the right. And one set of inducers formed an illusory contour of a square, while the other set was rotated to create curved illusory contours. The size of the inducers was varied to manipulate the strength of the illusory figures. The participants were instructed to indicate on which side they perceived the illusory square by pressing a button. Like if you see the square on the left, you press the left button, and if you see the square on the right, you press the right button. And TMS was applied over the early visual cortex or bilaterally over a higher level visual area at different time windows after stimulus presentation. The order of TMS target location was randomly assigned, and the timing of TMS was randomized within each experimental block. Data were gathered in multiple sessions, and each session consisted of practice blocks and experimental blocks. The researchers used an fMRI-guided navigation system to monitor the position of the TMS core during the experiment. The results of the experiment showed that disruption of neural signaling in the LO at 100 milliseconds after stimulus onset resulted in reduced performance scores on an illusory figure discrimination task. Additionally, TMS applied over the early visual cortex declined performance at a later time. These findings suggested that feedback from higher visual areas, such as the lateral occipital area, to the early visual cortex is necessary for perceptual completion. This involvement of the early visual cortex after the contribution of the LO suggests the presence of recurrent interaction between these areas. And the experiment also found that TMS mainly disrupted the conscious experience of the illusory figure, rather than the processing of the physical stimulus characteristics. Overall, the results support the importance of feedback signals from higher to lower visual areas in perceptual completion. And then is the conclusion and future directions. The importance of this experiment lies in providing evidence for the role of feedback signals from higher visual areas to early visual cortex in perceptual completion. It suggests that conscious perception and the construction of illusory figures are mediated by recurrent interactions between these areas. This finding supports the importance of feedback processing in visual perception. However, there are some limitations in this study. Firstly, the experiment only focused on the disruption of subjective experience and did not investigate the accuracy of categorization. Further studies could explore the effects of TMS on both subjective performance and categorization accuracy to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the role of feedback in visual perception. Additionally, the study did not examine the specific dynamics of TMS modulation on cortical activity. It is unclear whether TMS mainly interferes with the processing of incoming signals or affects the output of early visual cortex. Further research could investigate the level at which TMS modulates activity in a cortical area to provide more insights into the underlying mechanisms. In terms of future research directions, it would be interesting to explore the temporal dynamics of feedback processing in early visual cortex.
Here are the references, and thank you for listening.